I saw it. I watched him die. I think the man in cell 11 is Damien Karras.
Hey, yo. Is that, look up in the sky. Is that a bird? Is it a giant fat man in red cup? Merry Christmas in Madness Pod family. You thought we forgot. Monday came and went. You're like, podcast is over. They didn't drop an episode. We haven't heard a word from them on the socials. They had the big fight. They split up. They quit. It's over. There's no In Madness Pod anymore. What am I to do with my life now? Well, you need not worry, friends. Welcome to your Christmas gift, 142 of In Madness Pod. Shawn the Butcher, Vertebrae33. Merry Christmas, sir. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Shawn. What an awesome time of year. I already got an early gift just for this episode here.
So Vertebrae came by my house. Oh my God. Wait, is this Edward Scissorhands again?
I got an early gift for this episode, Shawn.
Oh, this is perfect. It works for this episode and one of our previous episodes.
Exactly. It's not, it's a new one. We had to replace the old one. And if you're watching on YouTube, you know what we're talking about. But I've got some big shears in my hand. I was thinking if I do this and then I just cut the cord, that's when the podcast ends.
That's when it's going to be over. Then we have to wait for Vertebrae to hit that Amazon Prime delivery. I thought you were going to show the sweet gift that I gave you yesterday. I didn't know if you had it ready with you.
You know what, Shawn?
Is it on the tree?
It's on the tree, but I have the box.
Okay, yeah, get the box. But I also while you're getting the box, I would like you to take a picture of it on your tree, and then we will post that on the In Madness socials, and everyone can see the awesome gift I gave her. So it's like Nosferatu, an ornament.
An ornament. It's awesome. It's already on the tree. I came home.
Much respect right away. To horrornaments. Brilliant idea. I have several on my tree. I have a Cthulhu on my tree. I have a Madball dude with the one eyeball and like the snarling teeth. They have an angry snowman. They have it's just horror ornaments. We are not sponsored. We do not work together. We should, but it's just such a great, cool concept for the person who likes fun, funky things on their Christmas tree.
Yeah, they should have one with the crazy old lady climbing onto somebody's ceiling. That would be fantastic.
So here we are for episode 142 of the premiere podcast, In Madness Pod. Merry Christmas on the socials at In Madness Pod. In the mail sack, which is engorged right now with your year in review emails. You could still email us because we won't be recording that episode for a couple days from now. So you had better email us inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube. You could see Vertebrae's gigantic garden shears. YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and comment. Give us the 5-star reviews. Check out the In Madness Spotify playlist. Who knows what songs are going to be added by the end of this episode. Happy In Madness, usually Monday. Today it's on Christmas because we like getting theatrical as we can with it. Spread the madness. Tell everybody you know about this show, which I see you are clearly doing, from the Spotify rap that Vertebrae sent me of all the success that In Madness Pod has had throughout the year. So keep spreading the madness, keep spreading the tentacles, keep representing for your boys. And get yourself a nice shirt, which I just got, and get yourself a nice mug, which I just got. On the socials, In Madness. So it's not on the socials. InMadness.com for all of your In Madness merch. And what mug do you have for this week?
So for the holiday special, I've got a Grinchy mug. Grinchy. Hey.
Should we add your immune one, Mr. Grinch, to the In Madness Spotify?
Oh, we should. Absolutely.
We should. Yeah. It's got to be the version that's just the song, because I just had a version pop on because we're making all the cookies and we're blasting all the Christmas music. And the Grinch song came on, but then it's got like 8 minutes of the movie in the thing. And I'm like, no. Just give me the song. So as long as it's just the song.
That's kind of cool, though. Get to listen to a little bit.
It's all right, I guess. I just want it's the music playlist. That's what it's about.
Shawn,
yes.
Here we are, Christmas Day, dropping an episode, getting ourselves in the festive mood with the world of The Exorcist.
This is an episode 365 days in the making. We did this exactly a year ago with one of the most horrifying Christmases I have ever had. We decided to cover Exorcist. So again, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And when we did Exorcist, we then hopped into Exorcist Believer, which was the one we ragged all about on one of our 0.5s.
Yeah, that was rough.
You went on his friggin' tangent and you're like, I went crazy Exorcist heavy, and Exorcist 3, what a movie. Fa la 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 la. And I was like, man, next year, if that's what's going on, we'll highlight Exorcist 3. And here we are.
Here we are. This is the sequel that never was, meaning direct sequel, because it was an Exorcist 2, which was not a great movie. And I think maybe from here on out, we could just if we wanted to do an Exorcist episode, we could probably just group like 2, 4, I don't know if there's another one after 5 together, and maybe torture ourselves like we did the Nightmare on Elm Street when we did like a gazillion of them in a row.
But that was fun. That was weird.
That was fun. But Exorcist 3, this comes out in 1990, and it's written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who was the writer of the first Exorcist, and based off the sequel. So he wrote a sequel book to The Exorcist, Shawn, called Legion. And actually, he wanted to call this movie Legion. But if you dive into this movie at all, you'll know that 2 and 3, the studios start to meddle. They start to get themselves involved. That's part of what they essentially, Exorcist 2 was, they wanted to do a cheap follow-up to it and not spend a lot of money and just have another exorcism. Like, let's redo what we did before. And that kind of ends up in here a little bit too. But they say this completes his trilogy of faith, which is The Exorcist, Exorcist 3, and the 9th Configuration, which I have never seen, which came out in 1980. Yeah, so I need, but this stars the yelling and screaming George C. Scott. He yells at a lot of people in this movie.
Nothing in the files.
Yeah. And Brad Dourif, who was what is he, like the voice of Chucky
himself. Yeah.
So he mentions a doll in this movie in one
and
scene,
he also says the word child's play.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So this follows a character from the original film recast in Kinderman. So we get Lieutenant Kinderman, and he's investigating this series of what they call demonic murders. We're back in Georgetown. We got the steps there, and
the Gemini killer.
Yeah, Gemini killer, kind of loosely based off the Zodiac killer. But when we get Exorcist 2 before this, Shawn, the heretic, that follows another priest, and it takes us and the demon Pazuzu's back, and Reagan's now a traumatized teen, and they go to Africa, and it's just, that movie just goes completely off the rails. And that was the reason both Blatty and Friedkin, who was the director, don't come back, is because they both had issues, Shawn. They both filed lawsuits against the studio and each other for profits and credits. So The Exorcist, huge success, ends in a lot of fighting afterwards. And then they decide to do what they considered a low budget rehash for the sequel, which was like $3 million. And they got Linda Blair. Probably she took up like a good part of that budget just to have her come back. At one point, John Carpenter was in talks to direct this movie, and then it kind of got to a point where it was basically Blatty's vision was sort of so clear, and Carpenter was just kind of like, you should do it, you should kind of do this yourself, right? Like, you're going to just be over my shoulder, and you're going to get a Carpenter film if he does it. You're not going to get probably what Blatty was into, and if he has a history of falling out and whatever, then we're headed down that path again. And then Blatty directed it and located in Georgetown, and back to the steps and kind of back to that. But Shawn, this movie, and you said something to me, you alluded to something when I saw you yesterday, because we saw each other in person for a few minutes about it, but we don't talk about this stuff in advance. And you said, now I know why you like this movie. This movie is chock full of nothing but talking and investigating bits all over.
And it's also weird as hell.
Weird detective stuff. There's a library at one point. It's It's all there, kids.
Oh, I got a note about it. Don't worry.
It's all there. But this movie has kind of grown a little in its popularity over the years. I think people got burnt on. It's kind of like the Season of the Witch thing for Halloween, which is interesting because that's also the third film. But it's certainly grown in popularity, and people are into the weirdness, and now are starting to call certain scenes of this iconic.
Yep.
Which is very interesting.
And they make and I've watched the movie. I'd probably say at least 3 times, and all 3 times knowing it's coming, it pops me every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But so Merry Christmas to everyone. Let's talk about some demon possession.
So I didn't want to watch Exorcist 3 without I know I've seen Exorcist 2 before, but without like really paying attention to it. So I wanted to watch it and pay attention just so I wasn't missing anything in Exorcist 3. I have like 3 lines here on Exorcist 2. So I'll just and you were right. Like, I'm glad we went to 3 because 2 is kind of lame. It's this dude investigating how Father Merrin died, who was the dude in the first one, in the first Exorcist. And Reagan is working with these kids, and actual Nurse Ratched from What Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I have a Nurse Ratched reference in our Exorcist 3, and this was before I watched Exorcist 2, because I did watch them backwards. And then Doc has this weird device they can like see in the past, and the demon is still inside Reagan. However, this movie stunk, but there's a clip in it that is a sample in a metal song that is one of my favorite metal songs of all time. And I didn't know this was where the sample's from. Nile, from the album The Catacombs of the Nephron Ka. There's a song called Serpent-Headed Mask. And the first 3 seconds is when they're doing that like evil demonic chant, like witch doctor thing. And they're going, yeah. And that, I was like, oh my God, that's the beginning of the Nile song. My favorite Nile song, the first Nile song I ever heard back in like 99 or something, whenever that album came out. So I'm adding that to the In Madness Spotify playlist. That blew my mind. We also got James Earl Jones, the Locust King, which you mentioned. And he's like trying to defeat Pazuzu. The whole movie is weird, and then there's locusts everywhere, but Reagan is the good locust, so she can divert the evil, and that's the end of the movie. And I was like, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, the thing is with these sequels, Shawn, is they just want to try to. So in this case, they got weird, but it wasn't really in a good way in Exorcist 2, but then they gotta still kind of they want to hit the same beats that they had in the original. So they go off on really tangents. And that's when, that's the difference now, modern times, is I think you get like what they call a showrunner or a producer, if you don't want to call them a showrunner, a TV show, a producer on movies, that maybe over the course of a few films, they sort of think about the possibility of what do we do next. A lot of these films, they didn't think about what they do next. They were just trying to get the first one made. And The Exorcist had a lot of issues getting made, or had a lot of problems on set and very controversial. So they're not thinking of that in advance. And I think that's where you're just like, okay, let's do the, hand off. You take care of it now. These people are out. And so in retrospect, certainly Legion is a better, more mature sequel, and kind of actually stands on its own in a lot of ways. I think the only thing that maybe they could have done if they hadn't done it in 2, like if this was the direct sequel, is you probably have Reagan pop in at some point. I mean, does it help? Does it not help? I don't know. It didn't help.
Didn't help 2 at all.
No, it didn't help 2. So, but yeah, it's fun because 3 can stand on its own, and you could actually have never even seen the original and watch this movie.
I wish I would have known that before I sat through 2 again.
Yeah. You were hoping for an Easter egg that would pop up.
I thought there was going to be like some type of like, oh, that dude's from that thing, and now I know, and now I can talk about it on the podcast. And I was like, and they're like, in number 2, they're like, match my tone, and then you could go back to the nether realm, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So shall we get into it? Exorcist 3?
Yeah, let's go.
So we got a priest returns to the stairs where Karras died in the first movie. We see another man. It's Kinderman, the dude from Exorcist 1. Kinderman was also in Exorcist 1. He's got this pic of Karras, and we get the iconic we get the intro theme, all that going on. So the wind blows open these church doors, You see this Jesus statue eyes open up, and we hear an evil voice that just says, "Preacher."
Right, and throughout this movie, we get not only this, like, similar sound that comes in, but we get this growl throughout the whole movie, this low guttural growl, which is really, really cool. They do some things where they build into it. We see the Georgetown right there on the campus of Georgetown. We see the rowing team, and there's something with oars later on, so they kind of start to build it out a little bit.
There's an investigation happening. Vertebrae is already intrigued. There's a murder of some sort, a young child. It's the 15-year anniversary of Karras's death, and there's many flashbacks of the iconic stairs.
Yeah, so Karras thrust out the window and tossed down these stairs.
So this priest was a friend of Karras. He loves film. Specifically, It's a Wonderful Life. Does this make Exorcist 3 a Christmas movie?
Possibly, Shawn. Possibly, by connection for the timing of It's a Wonderful Life being in the theater. I don't think it'd be in the theater all the time. Right?
I'm saying it's official. We've made Exorcist 1 a Christmas movie. Now we're going to make Exorcist 3 a Christmas movie. Sorry.
Okay. And I love Kinnaman as this disgruntled yet savvy detective. George C. Scott, it's not the guy who played him before, but he's very bombastic. He cares. He has this really interesting relationship with the priest. They kind of like each other, but give each other a hard time all the time. Very cool.
He is sad about his friend Karras's death. Also, there's this legend of the Gemini killer. However, Gemini killer's been dead for 15 years. Kinderman's got a family. He's got a wife, kid. There's grandma, I guess, the funny lady in the house.
Yeah, he was just like racist grandma.
But she's got good comedic timing. But yeah, no, she is a piece of shit.
She's like an angry golden girl.
Yeah.
It looks like the actress is younger than she's playing too.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But he's buds with the priest, and they go to the movies together. Like at the end of Exorcist 1, when you like film, and they still continue that. I like that. Kinderman tells this hilarious story. His wife has a fish in a bathtub, and now he's grown to hate this fish. Just a weird story, weird part.
Yeah, weird part. Weird kind of like in Blatty's book, you could tell that this is probably another director maybe would skip that part. It's a weird little note because Blatty puts weird things in little interludes, sort of, and it stays in there. This carp that's swimming around his bathtub, and he talks about how but it's that very like, it's almost like early Tarantino quippiness in dialogue, but from another era. Right? Like it kind of feels like that. Like, would guys talk like this to each other? Would they not talk like this to each other?
Shit. That's dudes talking shit. I think it's and like you said, they had this like fun relationship where they kind of break each other's balls and like, but yeah, they're bros. And he's like, I got this damn fish. Whether it's there or whether it's not there, like it's just dudes being dudes, making each other laugh.
Yeah, it's great.
Kinderman is stressed out about society. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. He's seeing all these terrible crimes, watching all this happen. But the priest, his buddy's like, you gotta just chill out, relax.
Right.
His kid got murdered,
and that's Father Dyer, by the way. So Father Dyer, who he's become friends with, was in the original film. So we get this kind of this
reconnect
thread. Yep.
A boy got murdered. We hear all the gory details. His head was cut off and replaced with the head of Jesus, and he was crucified on oars.
Yeah, so we saw the Georgetown rowing team. It's interesting, Shawn. It's filmed on the campus of Georgetown, and so we see in the back of a scene, you see John Thompson, famous Georgetown Hoyas basketball coach, and then when we get later on to that really trippy scene at Grand Central Station, there's a few cameos in there. We'll get to it.
I mean, I was feeling, as I was watching with the Grand Central Station scene, I was like, this is where Vertebrae locked in. He was like, oh, I'm in. This is where I'm at.
Actually, I like the talking, the chit-chat.
The talking bits. Yeah. No, when I come to that realization, I get into that as well. Then we get a cool scene. We get like Norman Bates sounding mother in the confessional booth, confessing to 17 murders to a priest. Blood begins flowing through the confessional like screen thing. And then a lady finds the priest's body in the confessional and starts freaking out. And Kinderman is on the case.
Right. And then I wrote in my notes, I was like, then there's the evil laughter. And then here we go, some more detective-y bits.
There's autopsy on a decapitated boy. He was injected with a drug. He couldn't move while he was being chopped.
Brutal.
Kinderman visits priest in the hospital. He starts yelling at everybody. Kinderman loves yelling at people.
He does, and he flies off the handle fast. Like he goes, there's no mid-range for this guy.
Just
and he's, kind of insulting people. He's kind of endearing. Like you're like, he probably knows what he's doing and he's really good at his job, but he's also a pain.
Yeah. And he treats the society the same way he treats like his job. Like he's just the head guy in charge.
Well, he's certainly, I think in the book Legion, there's a heavy dose of him questioning his own faith. They kind of lighten up a little bit on here. He's more just questioning faith in general and society. And, you can see that if you're a detective and you see the most awful parts of society all the time. And then you went through this insane thing like 15 years ago or so with your buddy. Like that's, you'd be a little bit jaded too.
You also mentioned this 365 days ago, and I remembered there's even the "May the Schwartz be with you" reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Made by the priest to one of the nurses while he's in the hospital. Kinderman leaves the hospital, and then we get a zoom-in shot of a statue of Jesus with no head. Was this the head used in the murder?
I would think so, but they get around they get around quick. Well, we find out how later on.
Turns out we got separate fingerprints on the priest murder and a decapitated boy murder. Kinderman is like, it's different people. He's freaking out. This is the part in my notes where I says Vertebrae loves this movie because all the investigating bits.
Yeah, because we don't know what's going on. It's a way different movie than The Exorcist, and I appreciate that because we don't need a repeat, which is what we're going to get, by the way, Shawn, when they make the next version of The Exorcist with Scarlett Johansson. We're going to get more of the same. They're taking shots in this movie, and I appreciate that.
Speaking of weird, let's get to the weirdest part of this entire movie. This dream sequence in a train station that's also like a cathedral or something.
I think that's Grand Central.
Is that Grand Central? Yeah. I've never been to that part of Grand Central. It looks great, but there's angels behind. They're working the desk. We got mental patients walking around. We got kids arguing. We got Fabio. Kinderman's walking around. He's finding he finds the decapitated kid. Oh, I'm sorry you got murdered. And the kid's like, it's all right, Kinderman. So weird.
And then we got Shawn, Samuel L. Jackson is in it as well. And go to the big one. Who's the big one?
Patrick Ewing? Is that Patrick Ewing?
Patrick Ewing with some angel wings on.
Playing cards with the priest. I looked it up because I was like, is that fucking Patrick Ewing? So he's actually the angel of death.
And the funny thing about that is like, it's not only is it him, but they don't just cut away. They like zoom, you see him and then they slow zoom in on his face too. Like this is where I think they were just having a little bit of fun. Like who can we throw in there? But listen, it is dreams. We've talked about dreams, Shawn. I got some weird dreams.
Watch Patrick. You'd be like, John Starks, Penny Hardaway was right behind you.
Yeah. John Starks is still 3 for 30 from the 3-point line in the NBA Finals in my dream or whatever it was. But
back when I was watching basketball when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, John Starks
playing
Marv Albert
NBA Jam.
When they lost to the Rockets. What did Marv Albert say? At some time, John Starks has to realize that he's shooting them out of a championship or something like that was the line he said, because he just kept throwing up threes and missing them.
Bricks.
But yeah, that it's weird, but I'm kind of okay with it because that's what happens in dreams. You do get random guest stars, random people. Fabio was all over TV at the time. It's it's plausible that he would pop into your dream.
Next week, Vertebrae be like, so I'm having lunch with Fabio and Patrick Ewing. Kinderman wakes up to a phone call. His priest friend is dead.
Right, and we saw him in the dream with his neck sliced and sewed
And
back
he was
up.
playing cards with Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Kinderman checks the hands. All these dead bodies he's finding, he's checking the hands for some reason. We'll find that out. All the priest's blood is in cups next to the bed without a drop spilled anywhere except on the wall, which is written, "It's a Wonderful Life." 2 Christmas references in Exorcist 3.
Right.
I think we're getting really close to making this a Christmas movie.
And It's a Wonderful Life with an extra L in wonderful. And that ends up being a significance later on.
I didn't even notice that.
Situation.
I swear to God.
So it's spelled wrong originally, but on purpose.
You have to explain. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. We hear the demon growl too, Shawn, at that point. And then we get this interview with this nurse. Man, this nurse is so cold.
But right before that, I notice that Kinderman's cop partner is also Agent Johnson, not that one, the other one from Die Hard, which is also a Christmas movie. And I'm saying just having him in this movie makes this a Christmas movie. Kinderman is interviewing Nurse Ratchet. There's a mean nurse. She found the body. He's interviewing all the patients. I don't have all the details of their interview, but she is just not having any of it.
She's not giving very much information, and she's just sort of very cold, matter of fact. She gets a little nicer later on at one point, and then kind of gets mean again.
Bandaging him up.
Yeah. But and then she saw a patient, Mrs. Clelia, lying unconscious.
So the Gemini killer, he severs the finger and carves the sign of the Zodiac into all his victims. This was Jigsaw before Jigsaw, we're talking here.
Right, but they only gave, and I guess we can say it now because we're talking about the movie, they leaked information to the press of which hand and where he carved it. And it's anyone copying it would do what was the leaked information. This person or these people are doing it spot on. So that's like kind of like you get kind of like a big reveal there.
This is why Kinderman is checking all of the hands. So now he thinks the Gemini killer is still alive.
Right. And I love this horror trope, and I use trope as like a fun word in this occasion, of somebody who is the main character and is totally on the ball and knows what's going on, and nobody's paying attention to him, right? We get this in It with the kids. We get it in every horror movie with kids.
Halloween with fucking poor Loomis.
Right. They're telling everybody. We get it with Loomis and Halloween.
Exactly. I told everybody.
It's so incredibly frustrating when you're viewing it, but it's realistic in some ways because everyone's just not going to jump on board with the fact that this Gemini killer could be back, and now he's tying in other things. They obviously know Kinderman's got some issues from his past and this exorcism that took place. So yeah, very interesting.
This next part's a little confusing. We got Kinderman talking with this drunk priest about possessions, and there's a strange, again, sort of like dream sequence with like a statue, but the face is painted kind of like the Joker with like green hair and red lips, and we got the other priest with the bird in a box, but the bird dies suddenly. So that's priest mourning. We'll get into him in a second, but there's this weird dream sequence with this Joker statue and the Kinderman talking to the priest guy.
Yeah, and we get when he's talking to the lady, Shawn, she's talking about her radio and hearing voices and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of, that's a weird one.
Yeah, he's interviewing all the patients at the hospital. He's trying to get some information. But then we get this other priest, Father Mourning. He's battled evil before. He's sitting at home. He's got this little bird he's taking care of. The bird dies. His crucifix falls off the wall. The eye of Jesus begins bleeding, and he picks up the crucifix, and everything gets dark outside. The wind's blowing everywhere, and now Father Mourning knows he's about to battle another evil.
Yeah, and his hair supposedly went white after this. Maybe that's what happened to my beard, Shawn. When I fought evil, it turned it was pure black, and then I fought evil off. And then
I feel like you were possessed and had a black beard, and then after you got unpossessed, your black beard turned white, and that's how they knew you were no longer evil.
Yeah, I wish it was a reason that was so exciting like that.
Turns out we got a fingerprint match. One of the old ladies from the hospital apparently killed the priest who got his blood drained, but she's too mentally detached to have possibly done this.
Right. So that's the lady we met before, Miss Clelia. And yeah. And also, Shawn, throughout this movie, we get a prolific amount of rain. There's scenes where we get the water again, we get the heavy duty rain and the storms, and we get a lot of statues crying blood and skies opening up, and there's a lot, all that going on without replicating the fact that there's a girl who's possessed. It's great.
It's its own standalone thing. It works by itself. Well, at points.
Mm-hmm.
At points right now, it's about not to. In the hospital, we got this doctor. He's acting weird as hell. He's like rehearsing this script. He's chain smoking cigarettes. He holds his cigarette really weird with like 3 fingers, and it bugs the hell out of me.
And you're like, what's up with this dude? Why is he practicing what he's going to say to him? Is he in it? He's got in his office, he's got like what looks like a Pazuzu idol. I'm not sure if it is, and other kind of weird artifacts around him as well. So right away, first time I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh, this guy's in on it. Or this guy, or maybe he has something to do with it. That's what this movie does well, is it kind of throws out a bunch of choices, because you have that nurse who's very cold, right? Maybe she's in on it. You've got the older lady, the patient with a lot of issues. Now you've got this guy involved. So what's really going on?
Apparently, Doc has the Gemini killer. He's in cell 11. Mm-hmm. Kinderman is also yelling to the nurses about files missing. Where are the files?
Yeah.
He's telling his cop buddy that he watched Karis die 15 years ago. But the man claiming to be the Gemini killer in cell 11 is Damien Karis.
And Shawn, this guy, first of all, to have either of them be alive when Karis fell on the steps and they electrocuted the, put him in the electric chair, Gemini killer, is just insane unto itself. And then if you're inspiring it by the Zodiac killer, apparently in his last letter to the press that he sent, he said he saw and he thought that The Exorcist was the best satirical comedy that he's ever seen. This is the real Zodiac killer.
Which, my friends, brings me to my milking of the alpacas moment.
Milking of the alpacas moment.
Because they open cell 11 and there's Karis. And immediately he says, "It's a wonderful life."
Yeah.
Boom! Explosions going off, fireworks in the background. Exorcist 3, officially a Christmas movie.
There it is. Yeah, not the same actor who played him in the original film. Due to personal issues, he wasn't able to be in it. But
it was a different guy?
Yes.
Karis was a different dude that wasn't the same actor?
No.
Oh, wow. I thought
no, because they got Brad Dourif to play him.
Well, yeah, but not Brad Dourif, but like when it's actually Karis, that's the same dude that was Karis in the first one, right?
No.
It's a different actor?
Yeah.
That's crazy. This version,
I don't know. I'm confused. He was in it and then he wasn't in it.
So he's in the cell when they open up cell 11. Like, it's Karis there, and he's sitting there, and he's, for some points, he has dialogue with Kinderman.
Right.
But then they do. So this version of Karis that you see is like possessed. And Kinderman is like interviewing him.
Oh, I do have that. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I have it in my notes here. Yeah, that it was him, but it wasn't him for the duration of the film.
Yes. Karis keeps saying that he is the Gemini killer. And he's talking about this girl that he murdered, confessing to all of these murders. Kinderman insists, though, that the Gemini killer is dead. Then this gets even weirder. Even weirder.
And that's why I was thrown off, because I was like,
because now it gets weird. Yes. The man screams, "I am not dead. I am the Gemini killer." However, Karis is now Brad Dourif, Charles Lee Ray, aka Chucky.
Right, and I had in my notes the reason why he wasn't in it throughout is I think he had some issues and they didn't think he could do the long scenes because there's a lot of talking.
Was it the same dude?
It takes
had to be the same dude. Yeah.
Yes. At the beginning, that part,
and
then they kind of move forward from there.
So they go back and forth between Brad Dourif and Karras.
Yeah, I don't think that he was. What was that guy's name? He was. I have in my other notes. Jason Miller. He played him in the original.
He's confessing to all these murders, but Kinderman sees the man as Karras. He's looking at Karras's face. However, underneath, he's Brad Dourif. Kinderman breaks Dourif's nose for explaining all these gory details of his murders. This scene goes on for like 8 minutes of him describing in graphic detail all the murders.
Yeah. So I will say these scenes where they're sitting across from each other talking, very, very cool. Like the light, they have the two lights kind of shining. He has the two windows. I put in my notes, he kind of had a big space there, but they have that machine for his brainwave activity. But they do this part and later on they go on a little too long, I think. And I think that's part of when you have the writer of the book directing the film, he wants to get in all the cool stuff that he wrote in the book. And I think if another director be like, this lines are great, but let's kind of cut to the chase a little bit, because later on it kind of drags a little bit in those parts.
The man in cell 11 once said, "Save your servant," to Nurse Ratchet. She tells this to Kinderman as she's bandaging his arm because he just popped Dourif's face and broke his nose. And they are intrigued by this message, "Save your servant."
Yeah, no repercussions for just going in and punching this guy.
Breaking his nose.
Yeah.
Turns out this is a passage from the Bible or something, and it's a passage calling for an exorcism. Now we get this classic shot. This woman behind a desk, she's working the night shift at the hospital. It is dead silent. She's walking around uncomfortably investigating all these little like little
there's noises, there's low growling, and what's cool is it's a down the hallway shot, right? So it's this nice shot where the desk where she's at is further into the screen. Very uncomfortable.
She checks this guy's room. He jumps up, scares the absolute crap out of me. He's mad at her. She goes back to the desk. We still got this long, uncomfortable shot of the hallway, dead silence. She's checking more of these like fluttery, everything is making noise all over this place, and she's checking it out. She turns around and this lady pops out behind her with like this big sword, and it makes this loud, uncomfortable noise. The camera goes from there it goes. Vertebrae's got this big ass thing. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's the shears. So you remember earlier in the movie, they had them and it had a sticker on it, and Kinderman asked, and what happened? These are new, and what happened to the other ones? Those are the other ones, whatever that device is. It's for autopsies or whatever, but she's got those, and they're shiny. That's a very, very iconic scene for this movie.
And this still camera that has been far away, once she pops out, the camera zooms in on her. Again, popped me hard, scared the crap out of me. This was also voted one of the most iconic, like, scary moments of all time in some Shudder documentary. And again, we get this shot of the headless Jesus.
Because first she goes in and there's a doctor sleeping in one of the rooms. She wakes him up. He starts yelling at him. So we get our kind of fake jump scare. Then she's hearing other noises. There's a police officer, a security guard there. Then he kind of leaves. So it goes on a little bit where you're like, I know something's got to happen. I know something's got to happen. And then but you didn't expect that.
Yeah. It takes a while because it gets uncomfortably long.
Yes.
And that even just builds the hype even more. Next shot, nurse dead, carried out in a body bag. She was cut open, all of her organs removed, stuffed with rosaries, and sewn back up.
Yeah, crazy.
A lot of time and patience for a job that involved.
Yes, and I will say, Shawn, I always get on the logistics of things.
How
the timing of this is insane. There are multiple people in the hospital that are sort of acting this way. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's also possible. So Nurse Ratchet is panicking. The weird doctor has killed himself. He has injected himself with something. Kinderman is back in cell 11. He's talking to the Gemini killer. He says he didn't die in the electric chair. He had more killing to do. He was in purgatory until Master gave him a second chance.
Right. So I would assume we don't mention Pazuzu, although we sort of mention a vendetta and revenge. But it almost feels like this is Satan, Shawn. I think.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it felt like to me.
Right. And Pazuzu in this case just kind of like an under demon that he, messed with, and now the boss is getting involved.
So then he goes on this like other 10-minute tirade.
Yeah, this speech is a little long.
About how he switched bodies with Karis when Karis was dying, and the Gemini killer like slipped into his body.
I think they probably could have used with a little flashback really quick to explain all of that. Maybe an color eye change or something, you know what I mean? And then explain it. This one's a little, and I love when they're sitting around talking, but a few of these are even I'm like, all right, we got this. We don't need every bit of this explanation.
Dorff also says child's play during this tirade he's going on, which I was like, oh, he said the name of the opposite movie, this other movie in this movie.
And they say Legion, which was the name of the book. And, he wanted it. Blatty wanted that to be the name of this, but the studio thought that nobody in 1990 would be able to figure it out that they were connected. So had to have the Exorcist on it.
Then we get this insane shot. This old lady who was recently accused of killing the priest earlier is now crawling on the ceiling.
Yeah, this is wild, and it's like really fast, like an ant or something. Like it's
everything else is going in like regular motion, and she's like, it's creepy. It's weird.
Yeah, very cool.
Kinderman finds a dead nurse naked, her gear stolen, and now one of the old patients is trying to kill a kid in the hospital, or so Kinderman thinks. He bursts in the door, but it's Nurse Ratchet yelling at him. Mm-hmm. Turns out the killer nurse is headed to Kinderman's house. So apparently, like, this is where I'm like, the Gemini killer can possess like other people to do his bidding.
Right. Well, he talks about, the nurse mentions him earlier about him kind of passing out at certain points. And that's when, remember, he has like the massive, all his vitals slow down, but his brain activity is off the charts. So that's when he's sort of controlling these other people. He's, using his power, slowing down the vitals on this shell that he has in his body and like operating other people. This, Shawn, is where I think the director of Weapons probably kind of dug on this movie a little bit. That has a little bit of a feel with the older lady at the house and everything. Very, very interesting. But yes, he's sort of operating, and I guess, Shawn, he could be operating multiple people. It seems like he has to be able to operate multiple people to get this work done.
Kinderman gets home. There's the old lady in the nurse uniform. She seems confused. Kinderman turns his back and she pulls out the shears and goes to cut his daughter's head off.
Now, who saves her life, Shawn? Quick acting grandma. Right? We got the angry little Golden Girl's grandma. Pulls the girl right out of the way, right when it's about to happen.
Her voice sort of becomes like the Gemini killer, and she goes to chop off the girl's head. She gets stopped. She's about to kill him until she freaks out. We see the priest, Father Morning, whose bird died earlier. He shows up at the hospital to cell 11, where Karis is possessed by the Gemini killer. His eyes jolt wide open. They're yellow and orange, kind of like Reagan when she was possessed.
Yeah, and I thought of this too, Shawn. I'm like, cell 11. I wonder if the Stranger Things people had a little bit of nod there when they made 11. But
these two have met before, Father Morning and this demon. The demon tells him this time he will lose. And indeed, he does, because possessed Karis sticks this dude to the ceiling, and like a glue trap, this dude, Father Morning, is pulling his skin and face off and ripping his flesh off.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's probably the most brutal scene in the movie, I think. The stuff with the kids, obviously super sad, but we don't really see it. But this is the most visually brutal. That's the thing, Shawn. This movie doesn't have a lot of gore. It doesn't have a lot of blood. It has a lot of suspense and a lot of weirdness. So you can tell where it would be up my alley.
Kinderman returns to cell 11. Father Morning is dead. Karras tells Kinderman he's going to get his daughter. So he pulls his gun, but Karras speaks in the voice of the devil, which is like Norman Bates' mother's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Kinderman gets pinned against the wall like he's being crucified. It's raining, lightning's crashing inside the cell. It breaks the floor open.
Right. There's fire, there's snakes, and then it's kind of appearing and disappearing. And yep.
Out of this hole rises one of the crime scenes from the beginning, a body crucified with oars with spikes jammed in the eyes, when it then turns into Karras, now crucified on the oars.
Mm-hmm.
But then the room's empty, just Karras and Kinderman. Turns out Father Morning is still alive, and he says, "Save your servant." Tells Karras to fight the demon who's about to kill Kinderman, but Karras fights the possession once again, and in the split second that he's human, tells Kinderman to shoot and kill him, and Kinderman blows Karras's brains out.
Rough. That's his friend. That's his buddy. He loved that guy.
They bury Karras. The end. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So I'm going to read this.
What was the 2 L's in Wonderful?
That was like later on. That was like his calling card. He would add a second L. Remember, he did the thing with the K. The people with the names of the K, and he would add the L. Yep.
Oh, now I get it. Now.
So there was the original novel ending, Shawn, was this. So I'm going to read this from my notes. The Gemini killer summoning Kinderman to his cell for a final speech, then willingly dropping dead after his cruel and hated father, a Christian evangelist, dies a natural death from a heart attack, as his motive for killing was always to shame his father. The Gemini's reason for remaining on Earth no longer exists, and he kills Karras in order to leave his host body. So I think this ending is cool, because it's kind of like he has to take out his friend. But they say the Exorcist scene at the end was added entirely in reshoots because the studio was upset that there wasn't any exorcism in the movie. Blatty called it completely unnecessary. They spent $4 million on this extensive reshoots so they could have this exorcism bit at the end.
Stupid.
So, but I mean, it's a pretty cool ending. I don't know, how would you have explained that this guy was getting back at his dad and his dad suddenly died? We'd have to introduce that dad
still confused about, so this is Karras? Like, he didn't die at the end of 1? Or is this like another like form of Karras or something?
I think it's probably just he's still in there, right? When he took over the body, the soul of him is still in there. Yeah. And I think that frees him and frees his soul to presumably go to heaven if he, takes him out, because that's the window. The window to take him out is when he's himself and not this demon. Right.
Yeah.
So I think, listen, I mean, obviously confusing.
It's weird. It's confusing.
And it's weird. But a couple scenes that come out of there are scenes that people still talk about to this day.
I'll probably rewatch this, like just for fun. This might be one of my phone.
It's an easier. It has the backdrop of the exorcism in it, but in some ways it's an easier watch than the original. It's not as icky.
100%. It's way more digestible, especially for the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah. So I think though, Shawn, this ends our Exorcist for the holidays shtick
theme. So we will figure out something. I will push Batman Returns for next Christmas, but we have to hit we have to hit the original Batman first. So maybe that's
we have to hit the original
next
first.
Year. Our plan to start maybe next year with a voting poll, which we should probably organize before next year. The next episode. Well, first off, thank you for joining us for our Exorcist sort of 2 and Exorcist 3 episode. We want to know, did we put you on Exorcist? Did we have you watching Exorcist 3 for the holidays? Have you seen this movie? Did you love it? What did you think? What was your favorite weird part? And Fabio or Patrick Ewing cameo, let us know on the socials at In Madness Pod. Hit us in the mail sack, inmadnesspod@gmail.com, which is where we go to read your emails, listen to your voice notes, which is where we're going to be next week for the year in review 3-year anniversary. No, wait, this is the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy 3-year anniversary to In Madness Pod. Whoa. How did I forget
we did
that?
it. Year 3 and year 3 entering season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Shawn, from this movie, I don't know if they made any toys or anything from The Exorcist 3, but I was just thinking you need like the NECA Patrick Ewing Angel of Death toy or something with Fabio sitting next to him and Samuel L. Jackson as the blind guy, and then they're playing cards. Like you get that like whole like old school McFarlane diorama or something set up. But yeah, this is we're gonna have a party, Shawn. The next episode is gonna be a party.
I have been asking for emails and voice notes in the mail sack for your favorite moment of 2025 of In Madness Pod. You can still send it in. We will get to it. We're going to be recording hopefully soon. We haven't figured that out yet. inmadnesspod@gmail.com. We're going to be reading your favorite year in review emails, listening to your voice notes, and hang on a second really quick. We will also,
and we're going to also, Shawn, I'm going to talk about some books. I mentioned a few books that I'm on right now that I'm hoping to finish by the end of the year as well.
And we're going to be opening Christmas presents that have been sent to us by some In Madness family members. I'm holding them right here. I don't know what it is. I haven't opened it yet. I was told do not open till the year in review episode. So I'm going to place it back right over here where it was. I can't wait. I can't believe we have gifts and emails and voice notes. I am looking very much forward. It's going to be a very fun year in review wrap-up episode for In Madness Pod. But for now, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything you asked for. Hope you opened all your presents. Thank you for spending your holiday with your boys here at In Madness for episode 142. Did you get all of your investigating bits and gnarly bits in? Anything else you want to wrap up with for Christmas, Vertebrae?
No, I mean, listen, a bummer I didn't get to reading Legion. I really wanted to read Legion. I will have to eventually read it. I just was in the middle of a few other books, and obviously it's a crazy time of year to kind of squeeze other research in. So I kind of, my notes on this movie was just more my observations, a few gnarly bits here and there, but it was more just kind of taking in this movie in general. And yeah, I think it's a movie I will watch this movie again. I mean, I watched it before. I watched it for this. You know, I don't know if it's an annual tradition.
No. Every once in a while, I'll check it out. Be like, oh, Exorcist 3 is around. I'll check this out.
Yeah. But I do have to watch Krampus. I'm hoping to watch Krampus.
I already knocked that out. I already knocked out Die Hard. I knocked out Christmas Story last night. We're doing all the cookie deliveries the next 2 days. It's going to be crazy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for taking this ride with us. Super exciting ideas for 2026 coming up. Love people to participate and get your festive outfits on for the next episode. We're going to have a party.
The year in review. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy 3-year anniversary. Just, I can't believe we've made it as far as we have. And like the spot and all the numbers you sent me yesterday, it's just incredible to see an upwards trajectory, and it makes me very happy. This little community we have built, just you and I are 2 dumbasses here on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great to have all the love and the appreciation, and I can just see it in the mail sack, and I see it on the socials. I see it everywhere. Thank you for listening. Keep telling your friends, tell your family members. The perfect gift for the holidays. In Madness Pod. We will see you. It won't be Monday, but don't freak out. We will see you next week.